go again with the mental part. Something happened mid-year.
What happened with him? Something went on. I mean, not that, we're demanding an answer. It could have been something that had nothing to do with the team.
Could have been personal.
A personal matter. But something was definitely off with him this year. But he seems to indicate a step back from a long season. Mentally, it was a lot of stuff going on. When you say it was a long season because mentally there was a grind, that leads me to believe there is a basketball thing that went on.
Yeah, I think
even if they're, again, that's just how my mind worked.
They probably didn't realize. They probably didn't realize how when you have the target on you now, it's harder every night. I don't know. Defending the title, maybe that is tougher. Where Steve Kerr had to come out and defend these guys and talk about it, how hard it is. Joe went through his stuff midseason where he thought he was going to get fired. Something was happening then to where we need to figure this out together. That was like the continued answers we got when they had those bad stretches in January. Like we need to talk and figure this thing out. Talk about what? What was it? What was the thing that was keeping his team back? I don't know. But I want him to be here. I want them to put more people around him and go after this thing. I know there's rumors of trading Jrue Holiday. I don't want them to suck. I don't want them to tank. I don't want that. I want them to go for it again. Because I do think they're a playoff team, even with him or without Tatum. Add some pieces around him to help him. Brad should be able to do that. That's one thing Brad's really good at, putting a good team together. So do it again. And it's a challenging thing now with Tatum being out.
Brown also said at the sneaker pop-up that was going on, people here really waited in the rain for hours, a lot of good fans and supporters that I appreciate a lot. And I know a lot of people are very highly critical of our performances, but I do appreciate the ones that support you through thick and thin, he said. He's still got that chip on his shoulder. From the time he was drafted, he's still pissed about getting
still keeping score,
draft.
Right? He's still keeping score, it seems. See what's important, what's not important. Oh, you guys stood in the rain. That's a bonus for you fans. Yeah. He still hears the boos. He still hears the yays. He's not horse blinded to where he can block all that stuff out. This dude hears everything.
He's clearly bothered by it because it's so easy to be doing a fan event and be like, the fans are great. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Can't believe all these people waited in the rain. No, he's still going to throw that in, too.
Thick and thin.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's a different
the
cat.
spotlight's on him now without Tatum.
Cat.
I don't know if he can handle it. He's never been in this spot.
He's the type of guy that needs to operate with a chip, too.
I know Tatum can handle it. Yeah. In fact, you heard his comments during the playoffs, the day before he got injured, or a couple of days before. Just some of the most impressive, mature comments you've ever heard from him about just taking it and understanding that in that role, you got to face a lot of crap.
Comes with the territory.
But it comes with the territory of being that guy, and that he had really grown comfortable in being that guy. This doesn't sound like a guy who's grown comfortable into being that guy. He's never been expected to be that guy. Now he is for 2025-26.
No, and hopefully he uses it as motivation. I would say, by the way, too, if you polled the players on that team, hey, you guys are going to get knocked out in round 2 of the postseason with the Knicks. You satisfied with that? There's not one of those players that'd be like, yeah, you know what, I'm sure it was a good run. They'd all be disappointed with it. So I don't know how you look at the fans and say, oh, I can't believe, you're disappointed by the performance by this team. How are you not? That was not the expectation coming into this year. It was not the expectation going into that series with the Knicks. There's nobody that thought you were going to lose to New York.
No, it implies that they lost because of injury to Tatum or injury to his knee or a tough mental year for him, right? And that excuses away the weak, terrible performance against the New York Knicks, right? Between Brown being injured, Tatum being injured, Porzingis having whatever it is he's dealing with. They want all of those things to be their built-in excuses. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So
I think that you go back and listen to Brad at the end too. He's like, you know why we lost? He goes, it's the 2 20-point collapses we had.
Yes.
Whoa, okay. So he knows you choked. That's a choke. That's not sugarcoating it. That's not, we were down our best player. Hey, it's part of basketball. Things go. It's ebb and flow. He didn't give you any of that. He goes, we blew two 20-point leads. So who does he put that on? Players? Does he put it on coaching? They got a lot of looking in the mirror to do. They do. to come back to this, like that team should not be playing ahead of you. They shouldn't.
It's a great point, by the way. Like if all of those losses
was a hero the other night.
were game sixes and just like non-competitive, and you were like, man, they just ran out of gas. They just didn't have it. But you're right. Those first 2 games, you were up.
It's the first thing you said. You know why we're eliminated? We had 2.
Yeah, a 14-point lead and another. Like they led in every game.
It's not just like injuries and you just didn't have enough left in the tank. No.
Right.
What's that say about the game?
If you're too hurt, you don't build 20-point leads in 2 games.
Right. That doesn't add up.
Happen.
Right. It tells you were the better team. You had it. You didn't step on her neck. You got the break point. You couldn't break them. For whatever reason, like that killer instinct wasn't there for them. They had it a year ago because maybe the opponents were easier. I don't know.
Well, time to be the guy. Let's talk more about the potential trade rumors. So to go back to Jaylen Brown, thoughts on a possible trade of Jaylen Brown?
No, thank you.
Still out on this.
No.
I'm agreeing.
No, that's it. The window's over then. You're done.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
You already got like one of the 2 pieces. Like you have two you've had Brown and Tatum together building towards this forever now. Like forever to me, it's like 4 years or more. That's forever in the NBA. Because NBA teams split up, and I'm hearing this Jrue Holiday rumored down to Dallas because Kyrie blew out his knee in March. We just talked about that. Beetle looked up his numbers. He's got 2 years at $50 million each left, and I'm like, do I want to be Dallas? Do I want to be Dallas with an aging player that I'm already overpaying that blows out a knee, and I'm going to go get another aging player and pay him too? Like, you already have Brown and Tatum. Keep these guys together as long as you can. Just because Jason Tatum got hurt doesn't mean all of a sudden trading Jaylen Brown is on the table. No. You know what's on the table? What should be for Brad Stevens, as he said, get in there, evaluate this thing with Joan, put the best possible team together to contend with the pieces that you have. And that's on your plate. So get more people, put them around Jaylen Brown, and let's help him until Tatum's ready to come back. I didn't tee this thing up again. You got the 2 magical pieces, man. Why would you get rid of one of them? Because you have no clue what you would get in return. And I know you would get a ton in return. But there's no guarantees any of those draft picks or player X or player A would fit in your scheme and the way you run things. These 2 guys work with what you do. Whether or not you think they shoot too many threes or not, that could all change. You could be a better team. Go get a big guy. You could change your offensive philosophy a little bit. Probably not going to, but hey, you got the 2 pieces. Keep them together. I don't want to hear about trading Brown. I don't.
Do you want to hear about trading Jrue Holiday?
Sure.
Because Steinline, Mark Stein, NBA insider, wrote this. League sources say Dallas is expected to at least explore whether there are any feasible trade pathways to Boston's Jrue Holiday. Complicated as that would likely be given the 3 years and $104 million still left on Holiday's contract. That's a lot of dough. A lot of dough. But Dallas is the first team that we've heard linked to a deal for Holiday. You've got to think the Mavericks want to be closer to winning. And we've talked about Dallas in this way. They have the pick. They can get Cooper Flag. But they're a team that, other than that, has older pieces that they should want to win now with.
Yeah, they've talked about it. Their window's the next two years, essentially, with Anthony Davis and Kyrie and all those guys. And so, yeah, if you're going to go all in on a year where you hope that Kyrie's back at the end of the season, then Jrue Holiday does sort of fit that timeline for that team. It's an option.
Yeah, I mean, guy who's won before, 2 rings.
It's been the missing piece for 2 franchises in the past, Milwaukee and Boston.
Yep. And I'm sure he gets it. He understands it. And hey, it's part of the business, man. And you're a valuable piece, even at the money that he makes.
So if I could just work this back into a Cooper Flag trade.
Yeah.
If you're going after a player like Jrue Holiday, does that mean you're super eager to be getting Cooper Flag? In terms of where you are in your development as a team and what you're building. Are you more? Yeah?
That means you're not trading the pick.
Well, couldn't you cash in the chip and get
If I'm trading, trading for
Proven
Jaylen Brown's on the table, that
now?
means you're trading that pick.
All right,
maybe,
well,
potentially.
let's
You know
go
what I mean?
big time here.
Because Jrue Holiday is not part of a
We have
Cooper Flag trade.
We have both this, and I don't know. You NBA nerds are going to have to tell me how this money could work because I don't know how it could.
Jimmy Stewart.
I don't think it's possible. But how do you get a blockbuster deal with Jaylen Brown and Jrue Holiday to Dallas? I don't think it's feasible. I'm just throwing this out there.
You get 3 or 4 teams, and
how many more teams would you need to work in? How many more exceptions would you need to
expiring
steal?
contracts?
How does that work? How do you swing that into existence?
Yeah, that's dork equations right there. You got to bring in the dorks for those. You're not trading them heads up. That doesn't work.
I cannot do NBA salary cap.
It's awful.
I can't do it. You're going to need to put those into your trade machines.
The ESPN trade machine.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. And I don't think it's even possible, but.
There he is. He's walking in. This is the guy that can pull it off, Jimmy Stewart.
He'll fire up the trade
I know.
machine.
There's three.
If there's one guy who can get the numbers, it's me.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.